This is Talkin Live. We have a wonderful, beautiful, special guest here, and her name is Madison B. Vandereb. Is that right? Am I? Yes. And as she has some stories she wants to tell and what she's trying to do, she's on the Instagram, TikTok. She have a website. Her website is at madisonquantumshifting.com, right?
It's you can find me on TikTok, Quantum Shifting, and through there you can find every extension of where my practice is.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna let you have the floor. Go ahead and just do what you want to, speak what you want to about what you're doing. Quantum shifting, what it is, and all that.
Sure. And there was a question that you asked, and I'll start by that question, but explaining what multidimensional consciousness is. I believe that we are all extensions of source energy, source consciousness. We are all fragments of our creator, what we call God. I believe that we are just an accumulation in a torus field of frequency. This whole existence in our universe is an accumulation and bodies of consciousness. High frequency being love, joy, euphoria, alignment, passion, creativity, Christ. Low frequency being fear, hate, dissatisfaction, pain, suffering, Satan. We have something in our brain called a pineal gland, which is responsible for housing and circulating the energy of our existence through our chakra system. And it makes us who we are, our memories, our experiences, our ancestors' memories, our pain, our pleasure, their pain and pleasure. When we were conceived, we received all of those frequencies from our ancestors, and we hold them within our genetic DNA, which is housed in that chakra system. So we receive our energy through our head, our chakra, our crown chakra, our chi, some people might call it, and it moves through our chakra system down to our sacrum and back up through the pineal gland. The pineal gland is what projects our consciousness, the reality that we experience behind our eyes. And through decalcifying that pineal gland, healing our chakra system, healing our bodies, our trauma, our ancestral trauma, we purify our existence, our Holy Trinity. We then create the space for uninterrupted flow of the God frequency. In other words, we tap into higher frequency, higher dimensions, higher intelligence, our divinity. And so when you open the third eye and you tap into your divine power, it gives you access to experiencing multiple dimensions of consciousness simultaneously at the same time. I like to see it as like an algorithm. Sorry, let me go back. I'm trying to bring these really, really big thoughts into a way that people understand. But when we open our third eye and you tap into your divine power, you have access to multiple dimensions of existence. You activate like your spidey senses, where one might experience telepathy, communication with dimensional beings, communication with the divine, peering into other people's dimensions, and you gain access to the ability to consciously create the reality that you want to experience through your conscious mind and what projects out of our pineal gland. And how that shows up in our daily life, it is in everything in our existence. I like to see it as an algorithm with what you consume, entertainment, the food that we eat, how we talk to ourselves, how we treat ourselves. Information we feed our mind, where focus goes, energy flows. So reaching higher dimensions of consciousness and becoming one with God, consciousness, source, is a daily practice of discipline and tuning our algorithm to a higher frequency, which is what I've dedicated my life to, is teaching people how to achieve that. Because the closer you are to God and the higher your frequency, the more co-creation power you have to harness, thus create your reality that you experience.
Basically, you're telling me that a person has those genes, basically genes, right? From their history, their family, or different people, and all those comes together, and it works together through the human body, and it flows from the mind down to the works of the body, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and we are physical extensions of the non-physical. So we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and we're in what I call a paradigm shift of humanity right now, which is the most exciting time to be alive, because we're in the age of Aquarius, which is the greatest awakening of human history. It's what we call in the Bible the second coming of Christ, where we are waking up to what this human experience actually is. But yeah,
and so that spirit within our ancestors is within us through basically God spirit, right? Is that what you're saying? And our emotions and our hearts and our thoughts are coming back from our ancestors within us, is what you're saying, right?
So the things that our ancestors struggled with and lived through, that experience and that frequency that was created through those experiences of our ancestors runs through our blood as we speak. So through our life, our experience and our evolution with this existence is learning how to shift energy. We are alchemists. Shift the energy and the cards that we've been handed. For instance, my grandmother, she grew up in a concentration camp in Indonesia and lived through the Japanese War. And she lived in a concentration camp with her mother and her siblings away from her father. So that trauma and that experience that she lived through is in my DNA also. But I mean, it doesn't go as far as that. Let's say like our parents struggled with infidelity and fear of abandonment. When they birth a child, we are giving our children those same struggles because it's embedded within our DNA. It's coding our human experience.
You had you had experiences in your life that brought you to where you're at now, is what you're saying. Is what, and you feel that things that happen to others in your family is embedded to you and come to you, and you are learning to handle that through the experiences of the past, basically.
Well, generational trauma is what I like to call it. That's why you see people who have parents of addiction. They too typically experience addiction. Or like, for instance, I have breast cancer in my family bloodline. And I believe that breast cancer is connected to our heart chakra. And if we hold on to anger and resentment, all of that trauma, it manifests as illness in the body. So when we hold on to the dis-ease of our nervous system, it creates disease in the body. So my findings and what I've come to know is and learn how to move that energy to protect us from experiencing the lower frequencies and living in a higher vibrational existence, which is euphoric.
Yeah, like in the Bible, it says, what you think you are is what you are.
Yes.
I mean, it says if you claim it, then that happens because you claimed it.
Abracadabra, the Hebrew translation of abracadabra means I speak, I create as has been spoken. So, yeah.
I'm listening. So, see what your vision is, what your thoughts are, and what your nature is, and your experience, all those kind of things.
Okay. But yeah, like it's divine timing, and when my knowledge came to me is, I spent 25 years of my life in survival mode, really, and experiencing depression and anxiety and not really knowing like what my purpose is, and finding something that has meaning and something to keep me going every day, because the cards that I were handed were very painful and excruciating and unloving, so to speak. So for 25 years of my life, I've felt powerless. And what I ended up doing is I found plant medicine to help me heal and to help me tap into higher consciousness.
So basically, you're talking about herbs and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, specifically psilocybin also, which I believe psilocybin is the neural network of the ecosystem of the earth. It's the brains of Mother Earth. So when we consume, we are accessing their intelligence. So when I was at rock bottom, what I ended up doing, I was desperate for answers. I was desperate to seek something outside of myself to give me just a glimmer of hope, because I really did struggle with like not knowing what to do with my life. And I asked plant medicine to move me and heal my spirit because I needed it at that moment. And so when I did take the plant medicine, what Ola came through, which is the experience that led me to teaching what I do today. My Oma is my grandmother, my grandmother that lived in the Japanese War in Indonesia. She came through to me during the peak of my experience. And for the first time since she had passed, it's been 2 years since that experience, I felt her love and her embrace. And I had missed her because she was the only glimmer of unconditional love in my life. So after sobbing for about 20 minutes and recognizing that my Oma was with me, what she had done, my phone was sitting next to me. And mind you, my Oma's crossed over. She's on the other side. She's in a different dimension than I.
Yeah.
I have my phone next to me. I'm on psilocybin. And she flashes my phone. It lights up and says, I have a missed call from Opa, which is my husband, who is still alive today, my grandfather. And it was 9 o'clock at night. My Opa doesn't call me. We don't really talk on the phone very much. And so I recognized that my Oma, she was getting me to call my Opa in that moment. So in that moment, on mushrooms, calling my 80-year-old grandfather, who is very biblically disciplined. I was raised that way. She wanted me to call him. So I did. I called him, said, hey, Opa, what are you doing? He was, I'm watching Jeopardy. What's up? And I didn't have control over what was coming out of my mouth at that time, because my Oma was with me. And what she did, her spirit took over my body and communicated a message to my Opa, who had been really struggling with losing my grandmother. They were married for 57 years. And so I'm not going to say the message. It's very sacred and very personal to me. But she delivered this message to my Opa, and my Opa was speechless. He was crying. He was sobbing. And what he said was, that he looked at my Oma's picture in the hallway that morning and said, please give me a sign of hope that like I need help because I'm really struggling. And the experience that I had experienced with my grandmother, his wish and his prayer and his commandment through his words was delivered through me. And her spirit took over my body and delivered the message to my Opa in that experience. And that experience is what shifted my whole life, is when I hit rock bottom, reached my second coming of Christ, and it is what began the ruthless pursuit of knowledge to help people escape their own suffering.
Yeah. I get where you're from, you know, because sometimes somebody can say something to you or bring a message to you, and your being comes out of you to others. Yeah. And the other thing I was to ask you, your state that your knowledge, tradition, education, does that have anything to do with what you're doing now?
My education?
No, I'm saying your traditional education or professional training. Does that happen? It don't. So it's all from inside of you coming out.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes. I didn't know what my purpose was. I was working in restaurants. I was pouring alcohol for people and doing the whole trying to climb the corporate ladder, and it was very unfulfilling for me. I felt like I was a machine and making somebody else wealthy. And I didn't feel like I had a purpose in my life that was keeping me going. The Japanese call it the ikigai. It's your purpose for living. And so up until 25 years old and to that experience, I was raised at go to college, get married. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Like that's what I was born on. So I didn't feel like I fit into that. And up until the experience with my Oma that I just told you about is when my purpose and my reason for being was handed to me. And in that moment, I realized why I had experienced so much pain and suffering in my life is I was the first one in my family to carry the ancestral wounds and to be able to move through them to the other side to reach enlightenment.
You you're saying, in other words, that experience that you had brought you to the point where you wasn't so confused of what you're here for. Is that what you're saying?
Well, before that experience, I was confused. Yeah, I was struggling with depression, anxiety. I dropped out of college. I was in no good relationships, getting myself in trouble and being very reactive and unable to. I mean, I'm only 30 years old now, so learning who I am as a human being. But I found the truth at 25 years old. Which shifted my life entirely. So now, with the dimensions of my consciousness that embody that suffering, I now have the knowledge and the wisdom of moving through that energy to help other people move through their suffering to reach their enlightenment.
It's mind-boggling how that you can get and stuff like that and be able to have a little peace. Some people don't have peace. A lot of people don't have peace now.
Yeah, and that's created within, and that's why I'm here to help teach people is all of the answers that you need within. It's not outside of us, it's within us, and that what we feel in our body and what our consciousness embodies determines the experience that we experience. So if we focus on embodying peace and love and abundance and kindness and prosperity and trust, the universe will give that to us and mirror it.
What would you say to individuals to recognize and awaken to their divine nature. What would you say to someone like that?
That wants to.
Yeah.
There's so many layers involved, and it's not really up to me to determine when someone experiences that. That is in divine timing. That's God's responsibility, not mine. However, what I would do to somebody who wants to, reach their divinity is learn how to control their energy. And heal themselves, and to be mindful and intentional with their energy to create the life that they want to experience. And it happens in every dimension of existence. So where we put our energy into. So if we're feeding our mind with fear and anxiety and the horrible things that are going on in the world, and we're feeling the despair of what's going on in the world, well, guess what? We are welcoming that into our reality because we're paying attention to it. Whereas we're focusing on love and our own creation. How we embody that? I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, getting people to realize where they're at today is a very hard thing to do.
Yeah, and every single one of us play a unique part in the role of consciousness, the battle of consciousness. And that the highest frequency in this universe, I've learned, is, apart from the energy of love, is authenticity. Authenticity is the most powerful frequency in this universe. And you are perfect and unique as you are, however that manifests. And as you are authentically plays a role in the evolution of humanity as a whole. It's just a matter of finding that, serving humanity.
Yeah, a lot of people think drugs, alcohol is the answer. But really, if you have confidence in yourself,
yes,
you can do it. If you won't let something say to you, you can't do this, or you can't control yourself, you can't do this, you can't do that. But we know through talking to you, if you want to do something, you can do it.
Yeah, you can. If you focus your mind onto what it is that you want to create and eliminate anything that's standing in the way, including the way that we speak to ourselves. Definitely.
Yeah, like prayer is asking for help from above, and being really serious and want to get away from what you are and be something better is what we need to have. That thought, I want to be better, I want to do better.
Yeah, but I also have the lens of we are unconditional love. And in order for us to unconditionally love people and humanity and become one with Christ and the oneness of God and consciousness, we must first love ourselves unconditionally.
That's what.
If we are, I need to be better and I want to be better, you are telling the universe that you're not already better, right?
Yeah.
You're telling the universe that you are in a position of insufficiency. So how can we embody our best selves every day to attract what it is that we want to experience?
Spanish people always told me you got to love yourself before you can love others. Is that true?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And believe me, I know a lot of them. So, but you, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you at, and just tell them what you're looking for. You want people to come on your Instagram, come on your TikTok, come on. Just tell people right now before we go off, so that they can know who you are, where you are, and all that.
My name is Madison, and my intention is to bring people to the kingdom, to bring people to God. It was a gift that I inherited through my bloodline, and I intend to help humanity evolve into higher consciousness. So if you want to learn more, if you need help or guidance, you can find me at quantumshifting on TikTok, where you can find all of my channeling and all of my intelligence in one specific area. And you have access to my website if you're interested on working with me one-on-one. There's also, I have what we call the Sacred Feminine Retreat in Costa Rica. We have a retreat in October that we just launched. So if you want to come to Costa Rica and unify with your divinity, please join us.
Okay, and they can get in touch with you through your email. You have an email or
I email quantumshiftingcoach@gmail.com.
Yeah. All right, and we appreciate you, being on the show.
Thank you.
And just to let you know, your show will be on our YouTube channel from now on. And so everybody will always be able to go to our YouTube channel and see what Madison has to offer. Also, we will probably play maybe one of these shows in other place on the network. So I want you to know that we appreciate you coming on, and you're welcome to come back when you feel like it and you want to. And we want you to get those people that you know to subscribe to our channel if you feel like it's something they should do. So, just like I say, if you want to come on again, all you have to do is ask.
Okay, I will be in touch.
God bless you.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us today. To watch this show again, be sure to visit talkinlive.com. We now have Roku and Amazon Fire TV channels for you to watch from your home TV. Or find more of our recent shows on most any of your favorite social media platforms. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Good night, world. We will be talking live with you next time. The views and opinions expressed on all Talkin' Live presentations are those of the host and their guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of the Talkin' Live TV broadcast studio, or by this channel or its management.